Gabbie Hanna is still at it. Is literally anyone's surprise. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be once again talking about Gabriel Jeanette Hanna, who recently left the internet. Breaking news, actually, she didn't even leave the internet, but is anyone surprised by this? But before we get into it, I just wanted to give a really quick shout out to Rose Forever New York. They make these like really cute flower boxes and they're real flowers. They smell so good, so good. And they are supposed to last for over a year. In my experience, they've lasted well over a year. This video is not sponsored, by the way. They just sent me these flowers. Initially, well, last year they sent me another flower box. It was like the light blue one. It's in my room tour video. I've had it in the background of multiple of my videos because I was just obsessed with it. These flowers I am obsessed with. They are from Rose Forever New York and they still look almost perfect. This year I reach out and I'm like, hey, can you send me another box by any chance? And like just thinking nothing of it, and they did. They sent me this box and like another really pretty box. It has a clear case and it has a little mini drawer. I want this on my like nightstand. I'm obsessed. But also like low-key jokes on them because I would have paid for it with my own money anyway. Watch them contact me being like, well, we're never sending you anything again. Damn it. Why do I ruin everything good for me? But yeah, I was just checking the website because I wanted to place my own order possibly. Their prices are really good right now. Like they're so good for what you're getting. So make sure you guys jump on that real quick. I also have an additional coupon code for an extra $15 off. So that's gonna be linked down below as well. But yeah, thanks again to Rose Forever New York. On to the video. So as you probably know, Gabbie Hanna has been behaving erratically for a while now. If for some reason you're not aware of the situations Gabbie Hanna has entrenched herself in for the past like year, I encourage you to check out my other videos. Just to give a super brief background on her last and most recent video on her channel, Sorry I'm Late, she gave a 5-paragraph thesis statement description. At the end of the statement she wrote, "From here on out, I will be offline entirely." I don't think anyone is surprised that she didn't actually stay offline. To be fair though, a lot, if not most big creators employ people to run their social media for them. Essentially, the creator makes the content and someone else manages posting. If her account stopped posting and leave the internet, then she won't get pushed by the algorithm, which means less views and less money. So it may also be other people posting on her behalf just to stay on top of the algorithm. We don't know. However, on Tuesday, she posted to Twitter, "The police just came for a wellness check and I answered the door stoned, covered in paint and wearing only my underwear and a make sure your friends are okay t-shirt. I can't believe they didn't take me away." I'm assuming she posted this herself, but who knows? You can't trust anyone on the internet nowadays. For those of you who don't know, a wellness check or a welfare check is an in-person call from local law enforcement to someone whose behavior has been suspicious in some way. Usually it's requested by a friend or family member. The service is available to everyone, so someone, whoever they may be, called the police and requested a welfare check on Gabbie, most likely because, as we can all see, she is exhibiting some really concerning and erratic behavior. We all know Gabbie is the mental health advocate of the world.
I'm so proud of this community.
And she's been very open about her mental health struggles on her channel. However, recently she has made some comments about being ejected from the game of life, if you know what I mean. In her last video, text appeared on the screen that read somewhere between hypomania and canceling your life subscription. She's also made other references to Control-Alt-Deleting her life on other platforms. Obviously, suicide is a serious topic that unfortunately so many people have some type of experience with. According to the World Health Organization, suicide is a global problem. In 2019, it was the 17th leading cause of death worldwide, and according to the CDC, more than 47,500 committed suicide in the United States in 2019. There is a death every 1 minute and 11 seconds, and 12 million adults reported seriously considering attempting it. I hope these numbers can demonstrate how serious and widespread this problem is. I hope that if you feel or have felt this way, that you are not alone. I have some mental health resources linked down below for you guys. Anyway, this tweet has had really mixed reactions. While some are showing genuine concern and support for Gabbie, others are accusing her of side baiting and making light of a serious situation in a distasteful way. This tweet has affected a lot of Gabbie's fans and young fans in particular. This young user replied to her tweet, "I don't know if you'll see this, but if you do, I'm a 16-year-old who's been watching you since I was little. I really want to meet you and talk with you and maybe make some content with you someday. If you do before I got the chance, I would be crushed. You matter, Gabbie. We love you." And the first literal reply to this tweet is, "As someone who used to support her, find a better role model, kid." She stated time and time again on private platforms like Patreon that she's been faking mental breakdowns to troll people. No one can change your mind, but hopefully you do your research and learn about her soon. Another user said, "Y'all can stop feeling concerned for Gabbie Hanna. Like, this girl is doing just fine. She's just a narcissist and likes attention. Is she okay? She's posting videos singing and moving rapidly, making weird faces. She's fine. She does that to make y'all ask about her. The bitch is just weird." Several people have accused Gabbie of admitting to trolling on her Patreon and that essentially she is exaggerating mental illness for views. She has flip-flop dropped all over the place with excuses, explanations, and reasons for her behavior. Now, I can't say one way or the other what Gabbie is actually mentally going through, and I'm not going to speculate on her intentions. What I can say is that the wellness check tweet was not it, sis. On a lighter, pettier note concerning Gabbie, a tweet from this user read, "I can't imagine having a fallout with every single friend I've ever had and not thinking I'm the problem." And Irene Walton liked that tweet. If you guys don't know, Irene and Gabbie used to appear in each other's videos and they had a podcast together at one point. Irene was a really beloved part of Gabbie's videos for a good while, and then she just stopped appearing in Gabbie's videos. So I guess it's safe to say that they aren't friends anymore. Also, Cher Lloyd replied to Gabbie's video tweet with, "Love all the songs on this album." If you were unaware, Cher Lloyd, who is an actual famous award-winning musician, has an album called Sorry I'm Late, and the cover is her in a bathtub. And as we know now, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Dent also recently tweeted, "My next podcast will be my last word on Gabbie Hanna. I'm done." I have a video discussing their history together in the last podcast episode that Jen posted about Gabbie that you guys can check out. I'm really curious to know what she has to say. It just seems like all the situations that Gabbie gets herself into are getting worse and worse. And I was literally about to wrap this video up, and then this bitch decides to post part 6 of her series. This episode, I guess, is called Smiles for the Camera. It starts out in March of this year, and basically Gabbie is vlogging for the first 6 minutes. Then she starts calling people out right, left, and center. She goes on to call out Alex James, Jessi Smiles, Dent, Lily Marston, Megan Rinks, and T-Channels for ruining her life. And that's not an exaggeration. That is literally what she says. She explains that she's had time to reflect on the situation and starts reiterating points that she's already made 1,000 times. She is accusing these people of being narcissistic abusers pretty much all over again, but this time with a full origin story. She calls out Alex James and she tells a story of how Alex told her something to the effect of, "You're pretty, but could you imagine how hot you'd be if you'd lost weight?" And comments about how she needs a nose job.
To bully me all the time about my nose. It was a constant, everyday fucking joke. And on multiple occasions, he told me to get a nose job and liposuction.
And that is up. I will give her credit. She makes a really good point right before she tells this story where she says something to the effect of, "When you insult a person's futures, you are insulting whoever else sees these futures." And that can have a really negative impact on people's mental well-being. Gabbie goes on to say that Alex James lied about his car accident to cover up the fact that he had a nose job.
He made a story on YouTube pretending to have gotten into a car accident so that he could pretend like he literally—
Okay, and even if he was insecure about having work done and lied about the car accident, that isn't that big of a deal in my personal opinion. I don't know. Some people are just insecure about admitting to plastic surgery, and even if he did lie about a car accident, yeah, that's up or whatever, but was this really necessary, Gabbie? Like, obviously it's not the best thing to lie about plastic surgery because then you're creating unrealistic standards for everybody else, but like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. Gabbie goes on to discuss Jessi Smiles. In the footage of the March vlog, she begins to describe how Alex James was actually friends with Jessi's R-wordist. Then we do a fast forward title screen to July 24th, 2021, and a title screen with "I am so bored." Yeah, we are too, Gabbie. We are too. She goes on to talk about the video Jessi Smiles made in November of 2019. Gabbie Hanna needs to be stopped. She says that it's been apparently really difficult and hard for her to understand why Jessi posted this video because, according to Gabbie, Jessi put out a video previously where she brought Gabbie up in the context of making a video with ex-BFF, which was a video put out by Jessi saying that they were on good terms and talked through everything and were fine. Gabbie goes on to once again get pissed that Jessi Jessi had brought her up and spoken about her both directly and indirectly. Jessi has said something about this before, but like Gabbie, people are allowed to talk about you and their experiences with you. Gabbie goes on to pull up several receipts of the ways Jessi either indirectly or directly talked about her in a video or tweet or whatever. I literally didn't care about this. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it's such a moot point to argue that Jessi brings you up all the time apparently and nobody cares. No one literally cares that Jessi brought you up to say some petty catty side comment remarks online because you guys had a falling out. Gabbie goes on to explain that they were friends for 5 to 7 months when she was 23. She doesn't keep up with Jessi's life and apparently didn't know she was pregnant until people started preemptively accusing Gabbie, saying that it's her fault if Jessi miscarries. Gabbie says essentially Jessi is the real horrible person who continually brings up Gabbie in videos to attach her name to Gabbie's and I guess get clout off of Gabbie's name.
If you don't want people to talk about me, if you don't want people to ask about us, stop talking about me. I don't get asked about you because I don't talk about you. And then she said, I didn't cause you any stress, I just want people to drop it. And I said, well, don't you think that the way to get them to drop it would be to not say how we hurt each other in all these unimaginable ways and how you hyperventilate every time I reach out to you?
Gabbie asserts that she told Jessi that if she didn't want to hear about Gabbie, then she should stop bringing her up in a negative way in videos if she truly doesn't want people online to talk about their toxic friendship. Jessi blocked Gabbie after this. Then after Trisha posted her video, Why Don't Like Gabbie Hanna in 2019, Jessi followed with her video because it was a popular and trendy topic to hate her. Gabbie accuses Jessi of piggybacking off of Trisha's video that was full of lies, and then Jessi used that as an opportunity to put out a video to ruin Gabbie's life and attach her name to Gabbie's again. Gabbie then explains the infamous DMing a fan thing as asking for evidence of her relationship with Curtis, which Jessi talked about in her 2019 video. Gabbie restates that she's already apologized and recognizes what she did wrong.
I've already apologized multiple times for sharing private information with a fan. I definitely took it too far. Surprise, I'm impulsive. I make bad choices sometimes.
And that it was wrong to give out sensitive personal information to a virtual stranger. But you know, she's just impulsive and quirky like that. Gabbie explains that when situations like this arise, she goes back and rereads old messages to see what went wrong and says that's what gaslighting does to you. It's you trying to figure out where the fuck you went crazy. As Gabbie goes through the messages from Jessi she apparently received before she blocked Gabbie, she states that she essentially had no reason to believe her and Jessi were on bad terms because they were having a friendly conversation in which Jessi asked for a job.
I'm afraid of somebody because they hurt me so bad and they were so evil. I wouldn't ask them to edit for them. You don't need a job from me so desperately that you would work for somebody that makes you physically ill because they're so scary.
Says that she's not shaming Jessi for asking for a job. She's asking that if Jessi thought she was a truly horrible, terrible, no good human being, then it doesn't make sense that she asked her to edit for her, you know? Gabbie goes on to state that they had previously forgiven each other and Gabbie forgave Jessi for all of the quote-unquote horrible shit that Jessi did to Gabbie.
And I don't want to be associated with her because she's not a good person. Outside of all of the shit that she's done to me, she's done some really horrible shit to a lot of people. And she has put me in a lot of very, very compromising situations and has fucked with me and threatened me and hurt me in a lot of ways. So I just don't want to be associated with her. So I never talk about her. And because of that, I never got questions.
But Gabbie doesn't talk about those stories online because it's no one's fucking business, which okay, fair enough, but I don't really think it's right to say that Jessi did all of this horrible shit to you without anything to back it up. To be fair, your credibility was pretty much thrown in the trash after the escape the night thing. Gabbie asserts that Jessi doesn't really think she's dangerous, she's just obsessed with hurting Gabbie.
She doesn't think I'm dangerous, she's just obsessed with hurting me. And she has. A lot.
Once again, Gabbie says that Jessi gaslit her into forgetting her reaction to Jessi's action was just a reaction.
A great way of gaslighting you into forgetting that your reaction to her action was a reaction.
Gabbie explains that Jessi's video, Gabbie Hanna Needs to Be Stopped, ruined her life and has continued to ruin her life.
But one private conversation with one person warrants a video to 6 million people completely lying and ruining my reputation.
Gabbie maintains that Jessi is her narcissistic abuser and accuses Jessi of playing the victim when she allegedly has always been the aggressor.
She's very good at playing the victim when she is and always has been the aggressor.
Also, I hate to be that guy, but aggressor has 2 G's, not 1, but whatever. Gabbie brings up Jen Dent and the fact that Jessi used Jen Dent's Twitter account as a diary. She accuses Jen Dent, or Jen Dent's Twitter account, I guess, of harassing her, threatening her, doxing her ex, harassing her family, and platforming her childhood abuser. That is a yikes for me, dog. These are very terrible and serious accusations, and I truly hope that no one is doing doing that to Gabbie, but where are the receipts? Gabbie continues to maintain that Jessi is the one who doesn't want it to stop. She accuses Jessi of being the quote-unquote true master manipulator, and that Jessi has everybody do her work and spread messages for her.
She is a true master manipulator. She's a puppet master. She has everybody do her work and spread her messages for her.
Gabbie says that Jessi's argument doesn't hold weight because she is still friends with Alex James. Then Gabbie defends herself against the whole phone call with Curtis thing by saying she told Jessi about it.
The call with Curtis is because I told her. We were not friends when the article came out, and then we met and I apologized for some tweets, and then we became friends. And then we were not friends when I spoke to Curtis, and then she reached out to me to try to rekindle our friendship, and I told her right off the bat, yes, I'm happy to work on our friendship, but I want—
But if you all remember, it was a little more than just a singular phone call. I get the sense that Gabbie doesn't understand why Jessi is friends with Alex James when Alex James was friends and roommates with Curtis Lepore, Jessi's R-wordist. Even though Jessi addressed this, Gabbie accuses both Jessi Smiles and Alex James of lying. She accuses Jessi of giving Alex a pass just because she has to for her story to hold up, and that Alex apparently lied through his entire video where he took accountability and that he absolutely did not own up to it. She shows screenshots showing that Alex moved in with Curtis after the TMZ story came out and links a video below about Alex James lying, which that's going to be left for a whole separate video if you guys want. Alex moving in with Curtis is a f***ing yikes for me, and yeah, that's shitty, but if she already forgave him, this kind of feels like a moot point. I think it's worth noting that just because someone else does something awful or does something that's more terrible than what you've done, it doesn't mean that you didn't do anything shitty, you know what I mean? Gabbie goes on to ask basically why there's a double standard, because she also owned up and also apologized both privately and publicly. She goes on to say that Alex and Jessi are ruining her reputation and her life with no regard for her well-being, and they are just doing this for fun. She also kind of blames society because as long as it plays out on a public platform, it's considered entertainment, but in the real world, they would be considered monsters.
I'm the monster.
Gabbie gives a play-by-play of the reality of her life, which is Trisha Paytas puts out a video full of lies. Jessi piggybacked with her video, which according to Gabbie is also full of lies, but I thought this whole episode was to expose the lies. Other than telling us, yeah, they're liars, what is the lie in those videos? What's the lie? Am I missing something? I feel like I'm being yelled at. She goes on to point out that Jessi Smiles and Trisha Paytas are literally the same person and friends who support each other's lies. Apparently, they also work together to come up with new lies. So you mean to tell me that Jessi Smiles and Trisha Paytas are the same person? Okay, Gabbie. Gabbie shows a clip of her reacting to a Trisha Paytas video in which Trisha talked about Gabbie and something to the effect of Gabbie said that her friend's husband hit on her first. Then in this portion of Gabbie's video, she puts up some text saying, I learned a lot in the editing process because I don't keep up with any of these people. This was the moment I realized that all of these people were connected and working together in a way I never saw because I wasn't looking. Next to this text, there is a screenshot of a series of tweets from Dent's account saying, please have multiple seats, text me, VM my husband again, I saw you, called it was correct, God how sad. Raise your hand if you talk to a rapist and an ex and someone's husband just because you made it, bruh. The Gabbie Show. Raise your hand if you get in an argument with a friend and talk to her rapist because you aren't speaking at the moment. But why you always talking to men you shouldn't be talking to though? First Curtis, then Richie, then my husband. That's weird. At Jessi Smiles, best good friend does her signature move. I never ask a thing. I'm simply a 100% friend. I love watching you consistently fuck up while thinking you're famous after using someone. I mean, we already know that Jen and Jessi were friends. Trisha and Jessi have publicly supported each other. I think I'm missing the conspiracy here. Gabbie then pops up some text saying, I also have no idea who Dent's husband is or that she was married. Maybe I did at some point 8 years ago, but it's very weird to me that they spend so much time talking about me and ways to hurt me. Again, people can talk publicly or privately about their experiences with you. Those tweets from Dent don't prove that they were coming up with ways to hurt you. But anyway, Gabbie then explains that after Trisha and Jessi came out with those videos in November of 2019, Alex James piggybacked with his video full of lies, which doesn't explain what the lies were, but I digress. Then she brings up T channels.
Everybody knows that all of the T channels will 1000% go against me. They will completely ignore facts and evidence as long as it's a way to drag me because it's highly profitable to do so. It's highly viral to do so.
Hey girl, I can understand why Gabbie feels that way. It must be really difficult to be so publicly ratioed all over the internet, but to be fair to myself and others, we talk about stuff that you did. Is it profitable and viral to do so? Yeah, sometimes, but a portion of that is probably because people don't want to support you anymore because of your behaviors. So they come to T-channels to summarize, again, your behavior online so that they don't have to give you a view. And I know it's a hard pill to swallow, and truly, Gabbie, wishing you peace and love, but if you insist on posting this series, and if you insist on behaving erratically and doing highly questionable, inappropriate things, T-channels are just going to talk about it. But isn't that also what you wanted? Promotion for your music and all that. There have been plenty of times that you've admitted to trolling for attention and promotion. Do you remember talking to Keemstar? Now I feel like I'm going crazy. Then Gabbie asserts that Jessi, Trisha, and the T-channels have all colluded to put her into a position where if she compliments a girl's shirt in a makeover video, she will literally get accused of disrespecting a victim and lose friends, sponsorships, and a record deal over it. The family of the victim requested that the situation was never brought up again. I can understand the point Gabbie is making here, but she really harps on this particular situation that people stopped talking about literally after she apologized. Some T-channels put out a video because viewers told them about it, and what you could have done, obviously hindsight is 2020, but what you could have done is just delete that entire section of your e-girl transformation video, but you took a while to even just blur the image out when people were calling you out in your comments for it. The family forgave you and everyone dropped it. It kind of feels like she's weaponizing this situation to fit her narrative of being unjustly criticized. To be fair again to Gabbie, there have been situations where she was treated very unfairly on the internet, like the rice gum thing, for example, and honestly, even how Trisha Paytas has been treating her. However, Gabbie, this world is made of shades of gray. You were treated unfairly by some people in some situations, but it doesn't negate the fact that you have done questionable and up things and were called out for these things, rightfully so. I don't think it's an unrealistic request to take a picture of a victim out of a video, dude, and you're the only one who's still talking about that situation now. Was that situation the only reason you lost those things, or was it perhaps a combination of all the drama surrounding you and your actions? That's that on that, and that's all I'm going to say on that point. Gabbie says that these people have taken so much from her and that she's at the point where she has nothing to lose, which is her reason for making these videos, defending herself and speaking her truth. She goes on to explain that the people closest to her have been hurt as a side effect of all of this, and again asserts that all of these people who have hurt her are connected. She points out that while she is the common denominator, she has always owned up to her own mistakes, and sometimes a group of mean people just band together just to hurt the odd person out, and she maintains that they are doing this to hurt her. She goes on to describe the ways in which her life has been negatively affected by all of the controversies. She says she is paranoid, has been pushed to the brink of a psychotic break and canceling her subscription to Life. She's afraid for her life and safety constantly. She feels like the overwhelming hate that she receives, the opportunities she's lost, the threats to her safety, and etc. is all because of hurting Jessi's feelings in 2015 and talking to a girl, which was a young fan, about it, and talking to Curtis, which she told Jessi about.
A stranger to me, years later, trying to literally take everything from me.
Gabbie doesn't deserve to feel unsafe. She doesn't deserve to feel suicidal, and it's understandable to me that she's under a lot of mental stress and strain. However, Gabbie goes absolutely in on Jessi for causing Gabbie to get hate. But did you forget the hate mobs that you sent to people?
Gabbie posts, "Help me, please. It's so wrong." With a screenshot of a tweet from Haley on it. Very wrong, got you. And as Dustin Daly and a lot of other people believe, this is Gabbie weaponizing her fans against anyone who has a negative opinion on her.
Did you forget that when people asked you to ask your fans to stop being hateful, you told them defend me as you see fit in your Patreon?
I want to make it clear, it was during that live that she gave her fans permission to defend her however they see fit.
She also put screenshots of tweets made by Lily Marston and Megan Ranks on their screen and calls them bullies, basically. The tweets that she put on the screen read, "She's actually sick. Gabbie, get some fucking help. Holy shit." I think at Lily Marston and I would make a fucking fire drama channel, which is what Megan Ranks said. Lily also said, "Gabbie, you're a delusional piece of shit. Megan said, imagine this is a soft pitch for our drama channel. Gabbie goes on to talk about how she believes Jessi orchestrated her uploads to coincide with Gabbie's music release, and that Jessi would continually mention her in some capacity online as a way to like sabotage her.
I had a video on the day that I was releasing a project that I put a lot of time, money, love, and heart into. Okay, whatever. I turn the other cheek because I'm getting ready to release the EP, even though Jessi hasn't posted in months. She posts right before I'm about to post my EP the same week with my name in the thumbnail.
Gabbie, she talked about you for 2 actual minutes in that video. Your name was in small text in the thumbnail. You literally had to enlarge it on the screen so we can see it better, girl. Like, I can empathize that you feel targeted and you felt like your hard work was sabotaged, but just because you feel that way, it doesn't make it factual. Gabbie starts to retell a timeline of events to point out that it will never be enough for Jessi. Talks about the video that she put out a year ago, right before she released Bad Karma, mind you, in which she told her side of the story regarding Jessi, Alex, Trisha, and Beyonce. Then she got threatened into a phone call.
Possibly can think of and just try to show my side of the story. And then I get threatened into a phone call. And I told her that I was not mentally in a place to have.
Gabbie shows this screenshot of a text, I'm assuming that she sent to Jessi, basically being like, I'm not trying to ignore you, I'm trying to heal, all that. Just asking her for time before the phone call. I hate to be nitpicky, but this text doesn't really serve the purpose that you want it to, unless you show the text of Jessi threatening you. You know what I mean? Like this, I don't know. This doesn't show anything.
The fucking hell in prison that I've been living in, all for a girl that I barely fucking knew, who literally just can't let me go.
I don't think that's true either.
Gabbie, just no. No, just no. Okay, so we flash back to March 2021 and Gabbie accuses Alex of physically hurting her, although she doesn't have any background information about that.
And he's like hurt me before, dude. For real.
She gives the backstory of how she moved in with Jessi, how they became close friends, and Gabbie says that she rode really hard for Jessi during that time and that she was indeed Jessi's only friend. Then she says she felt ostracized because she couldn't have any friends in the Vine community and lost her friends because they didn't back Jessi, and that sucks. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but why would you want to be friends with people who associate with rapists? You're not a martyr for choosing to support your friend who is a rape survivor. Curtis pled guilty. It isn't alleged, and that's on period. I think it's pretty uncool to pretend to take the moral high ground for choosing your friend when you are so very clearly bitter that you did that. If you're going to do the right thing, do the right thing. No one is going to hand you a medal for being a decent human being and doing the bare minimum. She denies again being friends with Curtis Lepore and tries to explain the tweets that she posted back in 2013 that were allegedly in support of Curtis Lepore. She goes into this whole origin story of how Jessi was really mean to her back in the Vine days, and essentially this put a bad taste in her mouth. So according to Gabbie, when the TMZ story broke, she was not friends with Jessi. She didn't know Jessi personally, and that she posted some tweets in bad taste, seemingly in support of Curtis, that have since been deleted. And her reasoning is people in the Vine community and other Viners in this group chat she was a part of didn't believe Jessi, or so neither did she initially. And I will give Gabbie credit for this next point though. She says that she and her other Viner buddies had preconceived notions and biases toward Jessi, and that affected their view of the validity of her R-word story. Quick reminder again, he pled literally guilty. She admits that that isn't the right attitude to have when a victim comes forward, and that victim blaming is wrong, and I personally hope that's something that we can all agree on. She says that she deleted those tweets in 2014, realized they were wrong, and she apologized to Jessi for them. She says she wants to correct the timeline by making sure we understand that her and Jessi weren't friends when she made those tweets. They did not know each other personally when she made those tweets. The only thing she knew about Jessi was that she was mean to Gabbie online, which I almost didn't catch this, but Gabbie says that Jessi responded to a Vine diss track Gabbie made on Jessi, which there was a rap battle line trend at the time.
Kinda tight. When Kendrick Lamar did Control, all the Viners were like calling each other out and rap battling each other, and it was just like fun. I went to Jessi where I was rap battling to her, and it was so cringy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't rap battles or diss tracks meant to be mean? Even if it's all in good fun, maybe she didn't like what you said, so she was mean back. She didn't put her Vine video in there because she couldn't find it, and I'm just asking questions and assuming here, but whatever. Anyway, point is that you defended your best friend's rapist, Gabbie. It's that you defended a rapist.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, I've heard her side. You can tell me yours. So he told me the exact same story. Like, okay, well, now you at least know from my side. I said, okay, I'm never going to publicly bash you or defend you. I'm never going to publicly bash Jessi.
She talks about more origin story details about their past, when Gabbie lived with her for a bit. She accused Jessi of doing nice things for her, only to hold it over her head later. There's also an anecdote Gabbie talks about where Jessi's brother asked her to move out because Jessi has a tendency to make friends overnight and just get rid of them. Gabbie explains that she is a codependent person who loves narcissists.
Love narcissists.
She explains that she was raised by bullies, essentially, and that is why she subconsciously seeks out narcissistic people to be around. And then she brings up Jenna Marbles, and she says that after she became friends and started posting with Jenna, according to Gabbie, she felt like Jessi only hit her up to hang out when Gabbie had like a more successful or famous friends around her.
Actively trying to hang out with her, and she only ever hit me up if she saw I was with Jenna. Like, she's the social climber, dude.
Gabbie claims that Jessi was talking poorly about her behind her back with mutual friends, calling mutual friends of theirs to get them to stop being friends with Gabbie, and basically just engaging in really negative, catty, mean girl behavior towards Gabbie. She shows some tweets posted by Jessi and Jen Dent that accused Gabbie of being a social climber, and in the tweets that she puts on the screen, there's one tweet from Jen Dent that says, because she's a ladder climbing backstabber and got all she needed from her best friend. None of the tweets that she showed from Jessi's account said anything about her being a social climber. I think Gabbie just assumes everything that has ever been tweeted from Jen's Twitter is actually just Jessi, because Jessi admitted to using Jen's Twitter in the past to subtweet and then delete. Jessi has already talked about this and clarified it from her point of view. You can watch her video, but Gabbie believes that she is a target for projection. She accuses Jessi of being the real social climber, and she says Alex was the real R-word apologist. Gabbie then mentions the lawsuit, which I kind of forgot she was threatening to sue everybody there for a while, if I'm honest. Anyway, she briefly talks about how she was suing everyone for defamation, and it would have been a slam dunk in her favor.
For the lawsuit, like, of course I was suing everybody. I was suing all the drama channels, Jessi, Trisha, Alex, Jen Dent. Like, I was suing everybody because you had to. And like, deadass, it was slam dunk because they broke everything that usually saves you from a defamation lawsuit.
She maintains that Jessi Smiles and Trisha Paytas are trying to control her relationships and isolate her.
For Trisha Paytas and Jessi Smiles, these are not people on the internet cyberbullying me. These are real people in my real life trying to control my relationships and isolate me.
Gabbie goes on to explain some of the catty behavior Jessi showed toward her, like making out with any guy Gabbie said was cute. She then expressed how upset she was that after her first fallout with Jessi, she had no friends because she defended and stood with Jessi in regards to the Curtis situation.
Like sobbing, I felt so fucking alone because I was already so ostracized. Like, I completely closed off my life to be there for Jessi and support Jessi in any way that she fucking needed.
So again, it sounds to me like she's bitter and resentful because she missed out on all of these great opportunities because she defended Jessi. Accuses Jessi of planting the seed for the narrative that Gabbie defended her R-wordist, and this narrative has damaged her brand. Even though Jessi didn't really start that rumor, Gabbie blames her and accuses her of continuing to attach Gabbie's name to the R-wordist on purpose to ruin Gabbie's life.
Jessi, was I mean to you in 2015? Shut the fuck up, dude. You started a campaign, like, you even admitted you didn't start the rumor about Curtis. You didn't start the rumor about Curtis. But people still do it based on the seed that you planted.
She points out multiple videos by Jessi that were either about Gabbie or they mentioned her in some capacity. She then accuses Jessi of blackmailing her to take Gabbie's story time down. Then after a back and forth, Gabbie says that Jessi left her alone for a little bit until she had the opportune moment to come out and expose Gabbie because she is obsessed with her.
Creep back. So she's been waiting all of these years for like an opportune moment, and then she saw Trisha make a video and she was like, oh, what's that? People are saying negative things about Gabbie?
She gives several examples of how vindictive she thinks Jessi is and says that Jessi made at least 9 videos about her, while Gabbie maintains that she's only made 1, and at one point blocked Jessi's name from her comments to avoid being associated with her. Gabbie starts going in on Jessi and points to Jessi uploading videos the same day she releases music, and in Gabbie's view, this is done on purpose to take away from Gabbie's success and destroy her good name.
Also is obsessed with me because she specifically releases shit on release dates of mine. Like, she waited till the day I dropped my music video. That is so jealous and weird. That actually fucking is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but posting videos at the same time as another creator seems like a pretty low bar to set to be considered sabotage, you know what I mean? Gabbie then describes the VidCon situation from her perspective, which Jessi also mentioned in her video. Gabbie says that she and Jessi had made plans to meet up at VidCon, and after she asked a couple of mutual acquaintances, she received a voice note from Jessi about bashing her teeth in.
I got this voice note from her screaming at me, threatening to fucking hit me and shit, dude. Like violent.
Jessi has addressed this in her video as well, and she admits to handling the situation wrong. Anyway, Gabbie was shocked and confused by this. After she realized she was blocked by Jessi, she sent an email to Jessi because she was upset that she was blocked after receiving those messages at VidCon.
I sent her an email because I'm not cool with that. If you're gonna fucking say some vile ass shit after you threaten to hit me and then don't give me a chance to respond to all the bullshit you're spewing, I will find another way to contact you.
Some time had passed, and apparently a friend of Gabbie told her to collab with Jessi, so Gabbie reached out to Jessi for a collab.
I asked her, like, hey, do you want to do a collab? And at that point, it was at a point where I was like, fucking done. Like, you threatened to hit me, bitch. And I was so afraid of somebody because they hurt me so bad and they were so evil, I wouldn't ask them to edit for them. That you would work for somebody that makes you physically ill because they're so scary.
So you won't edit for them, but you will collab with them? I'm getting so confused because everyone says that they are responding to the other, and now with these behind the scenes stories, I think we're supposed to understand that Gabbie is responding to actions that they all took first.
Jessi, where I was rap battling to her and it was so cringy.
Gabbie is the real victim in these situations. She accuses Jessi and the others of essentially being narcissistic, manipulative, jealous high school bullies.
I am the fucking victim.
She mentions Dent again and says that it's so weird Jen will do anything for Jessi and Jessi will literally never stand up for Jen for anything. She claims that whenever Jen and Jessi have a falling out, Jen goes back to Gabbie to try to make amends. She talks about the release of her last EP that she worked really hard on, and again points to Jessi's video with her name in small text in the thumbnail as proof of Jessi starting drama, and then says Jessi sent her a 4-minute voice memo threatening her, which we didn't hear, and I'll save you the suspense. She leaves it on a cliffhanger. So there's a part 2 to this part 6. Other than the nitty-gritty details of these news stories, this is all shit that we've been hearing from Gabbie forever. I get the sense that Gabbie is trying to demonstrate the ways in which she believes she was treated unfairly and to demonstrate the ways in which she feels betrayed. Anyway, I'm really curious to know what you guys thought of this episode. This entire video could have been me just saying the sentence, Gabbie Hanna is doing more of just the same. Remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow the Hot Tea Twitter account, and I think we are in desperate need of a good neuralizer, so enjoy this cute video. Bye!